The next presidential debate slug out is nearly upon us, and I can't wait. Hillary Clinton, of course, prepping in seclusion. Now, on the other hand, Donald Trump is still out on the campaign trail, including at town hall tonight in New Hampshire, presumably as practice for Sunday. So what should we expect from both candidates? My buffed and polished party panel joins me now. It's Katherine Timpf from the National Review. She's a reporter, also a correspondent on the Greg Gutfeld Show. Sabrina Schaeffer is here, executive director of the Women's Independent Forum, and she's joined by Rick Unger, senior political contributor at Forbes and host of Steele and Unger. Sounds like a couple superheroes. That is on Sirius XM channel 124. Welcome to Thursday, everyone.
Yay. Hello.
It's just about to get crazy. Now, I say that Donald Trump is getting past the point of salvation, not because he doesn't have a few tricks up his sleeve, but because the clock is winding down for him. And there are only so many more shifts we have left in the race. What do you think?
I think that we're going to see this weekend when the debate happens that he's going to bring out some more policy. I think we're going to hear a little bit more from him, which is interesting because I think everyone thinks of Hillary Clinton as sort of policy heavyweight, yet on certain issues, some of these women's issues, for instance, she actually hasn't unrolled that much, and I think that he's going to probably take a step in that direction.
Yeah, I think you're right. And when Kaine was pressed on the deficit by the moderator at Tuesday night's VP debate, I thought that he didn't have a very good answer either. And this is a really important issue. I mean, this is a critical issue for both of these candidates. They have to address debt service and the deficit, and I don't think that they have been honestly pushed by the moderators.
Well, neither side has been pushed on those issues.
Yeah.
And I agree that Trump does have to address policy. The good news for Trump is he does not have to win the debate. He just has to not lose again.
Yeah. Do you think that will be considered enough? Is that a win for him?
Because I don't think there's that many people who are undecided at this point. He just has to stop erosion, and he can do that if he doesn't lose. Now, on my issue with him on the policy, I don't think he has confidence on policy. And if you don't have confidence, you're afraid to put forth a point of view because somebody sitting across from you does have confidence.
I think that made him seem defensive the entire time. Like anytime he
What was he worried about?
Having to actually explain himself. And after he was pressed on something, he got really mad. Like even the, calling the Miss Universe fat thing, you just go, you just laugh it off. You don't say, well, no, I didn't do it. Anytime in life, if you don't act like it's a big deal, then people won't think it's a big deal. Like if you're, you're dating a guy, he's like, who are you texting? Don't be like, let me see your phone. Just be like, babe, relax. And then they'll forget all about it.
It's my manicurist.
Here's where I think that Trump, and I haven't been an outspoken supporter of Trump, but I think that this is where he has an advantage on Sunday night, and that is that politics is personal. And that's something that comes very naturally to him, even when he acts sort of foolishly in certain instances, and it's something that certainly does not come natural to Hillary Clinton. So I can imagine that she's taking these days now to sort of figure out how do I bring this down to
to your point. Now, possibly, and I think she's a better debater than you think she's going to be because she is wooden, she is robotic, but all she does is practice. Yeah. Right. But to your point about Donald Trump, here is what should be an aloof billionaire, but he is the more relatable, and that's why he has so much support with blue-collar, working-class Americans, because they're like, that's my kind of guy. And intuitively, you wouldn't think that, but obviously he's reaching them. And if he can do that, if he can talk to those people and connect with them on that stage, it is going to be a very different dynamic. Now, the election is obviously still very much a nail-biter. Trump and Clinton fighting for every square inch in the battleground states. Now, just yesterday, a Monmouth University poll had Ohio split by just 2 points, 44-42 in favor of Clinton. And post-debate focus groups suggest Clinton is making gains with both millennials and undecided voters. And there are a lot of people out there who say, what are people waiting for in order to make up their minds? Let me give you a quick stat. In 2008, millennials, ages 29 to 35 at the time, 74% of them in 2008 said they would definitely vote. Obviously drawn into the race by the passion of Barack Obama and the thought of our first black president. Now, same age group, only 47% say they are likely to vote. Why is it so much lower?
Well, they're just not that excited. Look, what's interesting is what's happening in Ohio. The last poll that came out from Monmouth had Trump ahead by 5. So that's a pretty big swing. The question is, if what Hillary needs to have turn out is a little bit dicey right now. Yes, she's gaining with the millennials in terms of polling, but we don't know if she's going to gain with voter turnout. They're not excited.
Yeah.
It's not the only community she has to depend on. She needs the black community to turn out in big numbers, at least in certain states.
Yeah.
So this remains an issue. We don't know if that polling will translate to votes.
I don't think it's deciding which candidates, more people deciding whether or not to actually leave the House. That's going to be
I mean, but I guess you could make the argument that millennials are the least served by these two candidates.
Absolutely.
Yeah, plus Obama, he just was likable. You know, she's trying to do the same things that he did with, making himself relevant, or making herself relevant in pop culture, making these jokes. She's just not good at it, though.
Yeah.
He's good at it. You can't fake it with, like, the Pokemon go to the polls. I will never ever forget Pokemon go to get out of my face, please, and never talk to me again.
But here's the thing with her too, is that I think that, for a millennial, they've grown up in a world of customization, right? They can have their groceries delivered to their door. They can choose when and what they watch on TV. They can have their personal stylist for $20 a month. She's the absolute opposite of what they've grown up in, the world they've grown up with, right? She wants one size fits all for a generation that has literally no idea what that means.
That is one of the best points that I've heard. Like, this is a generation of customization, and you're absolutely right. I mean, whether it's an app, every business model, it's immediate and it is tailor-made just for you. It is a bespoke culture.
But he's no different.
And she is, but, with her, when you're talking about free college, when you're talking about health care, and you're talking about these one-size-fits-all policies, that's all she's got.
But that's all, I mean, it's a great point. It really is. But that's all anybody who's running for office has got.
No, not necessarily.
Well,
not when you're talking about
this election.
Who has customized?
anyone, Calvin Coolidge.
Okay.
Because
is he running?
Yeah,
Sure.
I wish.
Yeah.
That's right. Thank you. Yeah, gets it. She gets it. All right, don't miss FBN's special live coverage of the second presidential debate. Of course, it's happening this Sunday night, starting with Trish Regan at 6 p.m. Eastern, followed by Lou Dobbs at 7, 4 in the West. Neo Cavuto is on at 8 p.m. I will be joining them in the Lou. That's a nickname for St. Louis. I'm not going to the bathroom with them. All right, coming up. Maybe. Obamacare is starting to become a top campaign issue. Can Donald Trump use the failing health care plan to his advantage over the next month?
Can I kick it? Can I kick it?
Yes, it's no pipe dog. God rest your soul in heaven. All right, the rising cost of Obamacare quickly becoming a major campaign issue, especially after Bill Clinton himself this week called the government health plan crazy. Now Donald Trump is attacking Hillary Clinton and blaming her for the costly insurance premiums.
And I think that Hillary Clinton should apologize for pursuing Obamacare, and she wants to make it even worse than it is right now. We're going to repeal it, and we're going to replace it with much less expensive and much better care.
All right, you know what? Hillary Care gave birth to Obamacare. Well, after it had a baby with Romney Care. Well, it's easier said than done, Donald, but we feel you, bro. So how is Obamacare going to play out on the political landscape? The party panel is back. Katherine Timpf, Sabrina Schaeffer, and Rick Unger. We are in an apologetic universe where everyone needs a safe space. Everyone has to apologize. And now Donald Trump is calling on Hillary and Obama to apologize. You know what? I can't stand Obamacare. I have been a victim of Obamacare and the exchanges for years now, and I despise it. What say you, Rick Unger?
Well, I don't.
Should they apologize?
I don't think they should apologize.
Do you love Obamacare still?
There are things that need to be fixed. Long discussion. But what was interesting is Bill Clinton's comments were so bizarre politically, but he told the truth. That's number one.
That was true.
It was
absolutely
true.
right, and he should get some credit for that.
Well, I give him credit for it, but I don't give him credit for the stupidity of the timing. It was, I actually thought we were going to get through this, even though we're hitting open enrollment season and people are freaking out about premium rates. I thought we were going to get through it without it.
Or freaking out because their insurance company is leaving the exchange. So now what do they do?
No, that's right. But for Donald Trump to blame it on Hillary is hysterical. The only connection
what
Hillary
was she doing
has
in 1993? Oh, that's right.
But guess what?
Single-payer health insurance.
But that's not. But wait. That's not what we got in Obamacare. You know what we did get in Obamacare? The Heritage Foundation reaction to Hillary Clinton's plan in 1993. That is the fundamental basis of Obamacare.
That's interesting.
I think we're forgetting that these are the Clintons. I mean, nothing sort of is just said casually. I think he was sort of setting this up. He's tapping into sort of all the the frustration out there, and then he's going to say, but my wife has the solution, and that's the public option. So there will be no more competition. Yes, but it takes time.
No, that's exactly what he wants. That's the one-size-fits-all nonsense that Sabrina was talking about in the last segment. So I want to bring McQueen. Kat Timpf into this. So what's worse for Hillary? If Donald Trump plays this right, what's worse for her? The failure of the ACA or Benghazi?
Man, oh man. Well, some of us don't like letting Benghazi go ever. It depends on what network you're watching, I guess. No, I think that this is pretty bad, but it doesn't really matter what Bill Clinton says because people just kind of, they forget about it. People don't talk about Hillary's things. Other networks, they talk, more about Trump is crazy, Trump's a sexist, and she's still connected to Obama no matter what Bill says, and Obamacare. No, people don't understand health care. Do you think they just understand it when their premiums go up or their insurance companies leave? That's when they understand it because they have to.
And that's what, if Trump is going to deftly handle this issue, that's what he has to hit on. My question for you, was this a way that Bill Clinton ham-handedly, and he used to be very subtle, polished, and great at these things, was it his way of divorcing Hillary Clinton from Obamacare?
I don't think so. I don't think it's really possible to do that because of Obama going out every single day and being like, campaigning for Hillary in one way or another. Yeah. They're very connected. The same administration. I think it'd be too hard to separate. Maybe he was trying to.
Let me remind you something. Before you get too excited about damage Obamacare can do, remember, we're talking about, and what Bill Clinton was talking about, is a narrow strata. People who get their insurance through work, which is most Americans, don't care about, well, you don't, but most Americans do.
You know what sucks? The insurance premiums going up 30–40%. Which is much more typical than Zeke Emanuel likes to.
I understand, but you are part of a narrow group. Most people do get their insurance through work. They're not focused on it. The people on the other scale did better through Medicaid expansion. They're happy, narrow band of people.
10 seconds left.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I buy mine on the private marketplace, but I think, look, the thing that Republicans and conservatives have been advancing is this idea of separating, unlinking your employer or employment from your health insurance so that you own and control those dollars. And I think that's something that would resonate. But this is a complicated issue. Trump's going to have to really study up on.
Sabrina Schaeffer is absolutely right. We need some sort of accounts. We need some sort of control over our own health care and then block grants, Medicare, give the money to the states individually. You don't have Medicare,
you do have some
Medicaid.
And I'm on Medicare, and I love it.
Well, of course you do.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, but ding, 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 ding. But we can't all play that banjo, can we?
Why not?
Why can't? Because we're not of age.
No, why not lower the age of Medicare?
Because I don't want to have to pay for everyone's health insurance.
But you're not. This is what you're missing.
Okay. Unfortunately, this fantasy is another conversation for another day. Let the private market handle it, and we will return with the panel a little bit later. But first, did Mike Pence do too well in the vice presidential debate? And will some Republicans now say his performance has uncovered some very uncomfortable issues within the GOP ticket? We will discuss just that in moments. Glad you're here. Oh, my garden. First of all, so glad you're here. Second of all, have you been following this crazy clown thing? It's been sweeping the country. Clown sightings like this one in Tacoma, Washington, T-Town, as they call it. They've spread to over a dozen states, prompting frenzied phone calls to police all over America. Police officers say, with few exceptions, the phenomenon is pretty much a harmless hoax, but professional, nice clowns getting very fed up and feel their image is being tarnished. The clown community in Tucson, Arizona has organized a Clown Lives Matter march for October 15th. The party panel is back. Kat Timpf, Sabrina Schaeffer, and Rick Unger. So, Kat, I know that you are a political contrarian. You're also an economic contrarian. You always buy into the market when it's down. Is this the time to love clowns when everyone is terrified of them?
I mean, I sort of I dated a clown. Well, it was more of a fling, and he was a student in a clown college and not a
kinky. Tell me more.
Yeah, maybe later. But, some clowns are going to be terrifying, and they're going to be bad, and they're going to look just like the real nice clowns. But that's people are like that too, right?
Remember,
Ted Bundy was a cutie pie, and he was a pretty bad guy.
You know what?
So it's really kind of hard to tell.
The best sociopaths are always the most attractive.
Most sexy men or women. I don't know.
I wonder, which came first, the sociopathy or the sexiness?
Or the being hot? I don't know, but it's definitely a thing.
So I worry that one of the good clowns is going to get lynched and eviscerated.
Yeah. I know. I grew up in the era of Stephen King. My brother read every single one of the books, the movies, the whole bit. I just can't separate clowns from, like, there are no good clowns in my world. There are no
open
good
up your eyes. Believe me.
What was the last birthday party that you went to?
It's clownist is what it is, Rick.
That is
We went from
But
clowns to bounce houses. There are no
but
clowns.
interestingly, Stephen King, the master of horror, he had to tweet to people saying, please don't hurt the clowns. Now it's just getting out of control.
I appreciate it. Look,
Yeah.
I don't like to talk about this very much. It's sensitive.
No, but you're clowny. You
I
love
was
clowns.
born half clown. My mother was normal. My father was a real clown. And I don't practice it. I only put the nose on for the high holidays.
See, you never know.
And clowns,
Shana Tova.
thank you.
Yeah.
Clowns are people too.
Yeah.
And we have rights. And what you said, Sabrina, was downright clownish.
I mean, I'm hiring the bounce house, not the clown.
What
I'm
about
going
the
to join the
clown
march.
college economy that would just collapse if
That's
there was no more
absolutely right.
clowns?
That's absolutely right.
exactly.
How would
Yeah.
the economy absorb
Yeah, the
Clowns-
big shoes.
the wayward clowns?
will
What about
put
those
20
big shoe
people into
companies?
a car. Clowns know how to save gas.
I love Mimering.
Clowns
I'm a
know
big
what
fan.
to do to control the economy. We get 20 clowns in a car.
Well,
Now, if that's not efficiency, I don't know
That
what
is-
is.
you know, that's
Americans
a
with their
good point.
oversized cars now.
That's
putting
right.
out
That's
in the-
right.
I want to thank the panel
We're
for
about to have
being
a clown in
here.
the White House. Come on.
And her name is...
No, that wasn't what I was thinking.
All right, very good, Rick, Sabrina, and Kat. Thank you guys all so much. And coming up, so much more. You know that I have your viewer mail at the ready. Here's a little taste from Michael. He says, at Kennedy Nation, does a killer at Bernie Sanders impersonation move over Larry David? More on clowns, specifically the ones in Congress, and which party will control it after the election. Peter Barnes has a special report from Washington. That is next.